All right, so let's continue our learning. So head on to Onshape and then go to the learning pathways and then go to your dashboard and go to learning path. You should be working on introduction to CAD. So continue learning path. And you should be right where it says introduction to assembly design. So view the course. You did 1, 2, now you're working on number 3. Before you do the exercise, make sure to watch this assembly view options. This will show you how to hide some of the parts so that you could easily manipulate the assembly. Okay, the next video you have to watch would be product structure, and in this video it details how main assembly could actually be divided into smaller sub-assemblies. Okay, so now onto the exercise. This is what we're going to be doing. So we're going to create a sub-assembly structure. And we'll be using mates. The two mates that we'll be using would be fastened and revolute. And then we'll be creating an instance of a component by using replicate. So click on the next page, and then it says here, open the public document exercise universal joint assembly. So click on that. Okay, so I'm going to split my screen now. Okay, so step 1, make a copy. So leave the document name. Okay, so here's our copy, and you'll see that we have 2 tabs. One is the universal joint and the other one is the universal joint component. These are both just parts, okay? Part studios. So click on the next slide. To create an assembly, you need to click on the plus. So click on the plus down here and then create assembly, and we'll name it universal joint assembly. So right here where it says assembly 1, rename it. So universal joint assembly, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to click and then drag it to move it to this place. Okay, next slide. Step 3. Okay, so go to the new assembly tab, which is this one, insert the universal joint flange. So click on insert and current document, part studio, and then we got 2 choices here. We're going to put this on first. If you look here, it's just made up of just one part. Okay, click there and then click here on the graphics area, and then click the check. Okay, so we have to click on the make connector to get the triad manipulator. Right click on that circle and move to origin. And then once you've done that, right click and then say fix. Okay, so this is fixed now. Okay, let's go to the next slide. That's it. It's fixed, so I did that already. And then go to number 5. We are going to insert 3 components this time. So click on insert, and we're gonna insert the universal joint component. So there's 3, but we're gonna click here to include all 3 at the same time. So click onto the graphics area and then click check, and then watch, you got 1, 2, and then 3 parts. Okay, so the first part, it's the universal joint center block. What we're gonna do is we're gonna line this up here at the center of the flange, and then we're gonna be using that mate connector right there, and then there's 2 mate connectors here. We're gonna choose this one first, okay, the one that matches with this flange. Okay, so we are going to use the revolute, which is this. Okay, so we'll choose this one first, and then we'll zoom in and choose the center of the block, which is this one, and then click check, and there you go. Okay, so what it does is it allows revolution along that axis. Okay, so that's what it does. Right click on the revolute and then say reset. So now it's reset, but we have to limit its movement. So right click, click on edit, and then click on limits and say -90 here, and right here would be 90. Okay, click check. Let's see what it does now. So it does this, 1, and then it does the opposite direction, 2. Okay, so right click on revolute and then say reset. All right, next one. Okay, so we're going to make this 2. So this is the axle and this is a bushing. So the next one that we're gonna be putting is a fasten mate. So fastened mate, so we're gonna click here on this piece right here. Okay, so you should select both lines like that. Okay, got that one. And then we're gonna be rotating this so I could get the center of this hole. See, there you go. See how it's selected? All of that features and then the mate connectors at the center. So click there. Okay, and click check. And we got that together. All right, next slide. So we're going to insert this sub-assembly into the cube. Okay, and to do that, what we're gonna do is we're going to use one of the things that you learned from your video, from watching the video. So we're gonna hide the universal joint flange, which is this. So right click on that and say hide. Okay, so now it's easier for us to actually get what we need to fasten together. So we're going to be using the fasten mate again. Okay, and then we are going to click here. So we're going to fasten from here. And it should go flush to this part right here. Okay, click check. All right, let's see. So that's how it should look like. Okay, so we'll go back to the universal joint flange and say show. So now it's there, it's back there. Okay, so click on the next side. Let's restructure the assembly and move the axle and bushing to a sub-assembly. So we're gonna select this 2, 1 and 2. Right click on it and then say move to new sub-assembly. And notice down here a new sub-assembly came out. So if I click here, so what we did is we made a sub-assembly of this 2. So this 2 will be named. So rename this. This is going to be, okay, let's go to the next slide. I think that's where it is. So let's rename this to universal joint axle. Okay, so now let's reorient this. So let's move it around like that. So there's the origin point right there. We need to line that up with the origin. So click here and move this triad manipulator to the center where the mate connector is. Okay, and right click and say move to origin. And then that arrow, which is opposite to the axle, you right click that and say anti-align to Z. Okay, and then right here, go isometric. Okay, you can do that by also right clicking and say isometric. All right, and then see what's next. Fix the axle in place. So just right click and then say fix. Okay, I think we're done with this sub-assembly. Now we head back to the main assembly, which is down here. Okay, click there. I'm going to click and drag it to the end. So I want that just to be at the end. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to make an instance of this and put it on all of these remaining holes. So this one is called the universal joint axle subsystem, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to click on replicate. And then we're going to click on universal joint axle subsystem so that it selects all of the parts. And then down here, we're going to say match individual faces. And we're going to click. So I clicked here, okay? And we're going to click that part. Okay, and then I'm going to rotate here and click this face and click check. All right, right click and isometric. That's what we have so far. Okay, and then next we are going to copy and paste the universal joint flange. So this one right here, you could right click here and then look for copy universal joint flange, or you could also right click here and then say copy. Okay, either way will work, and then right click and then paste universal flange. There you go. Okay, next we are going to make using the revolute once more. So this is it. So we're gonna do revolute with this one, and then we're gonna zoom in here and we're gonna do the other one that we didn't use a while ago, which is this one right here. Okay, so and then you'll see that they're both occupying the same space. So what you want to do is you want to reorient the axis. So if you click here, it just rotates it, and that's where we want it. Okay, so click check, and there you go. Okay, the last thing that we forgot to put is, let's edit that, and we're supposed to put a limit, same limit, -90, and then 90 degrees. So click check. Okay, so here's the type of movement that this thing can do. Okay, notice that's the type of movement that this can do, and it could also tilt this way because it could actually do 90 degrees. The only thing about this assembly is it's not fully constrained, and that's beyond what we're doing. Because see, what's going to happen is it still does that. It crosses over to the other one. Okay, so but that's fine. That's not the scope of this tutorial. So just go to revolute and then say reset, and then go to revolute 2 and then say reset once more. Okay, so now that we've reset everything, we are going to do the usual check that we do. So you need to select universal joint flange number 2, the second one, the one on top, this one. So I click here and I got the display mask properties again here. So click on this one and then you'll get the numbers. These are the numbers that we want. Okay, it doesn't actually match the quiz. Okay, but I've tried this several times. This is the number that I keep on getting. So now all you have to do is take a screenshot of this. Make sure the screenshot has your name, the drawing, and also the mask properties. And submit that to alvaricoj@mdusd.net. And then don't forget to close the document. It's already saved for you.